Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and I have a fantastic game for you from 1895 Hastings International Tournament, with the white pieces playing the first undisputed world chess champion Wilhelm Steinitz, and his opponent is a German chess master and journalist Curt von Bardeleben. The following game received the first special prize for beauty in the famous Hastings Congress of 1895. Now let's see what happened on the board. Steinitz started the game with e4 and e5 by Bardeleben. Knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. White goes for the Italian game, bishop c5, c3. White intends to establish a strong center, knight f6. Now comes d4, e takes d4, c takes d4. Bishop b4 check and knight c3. This is the sharpest reply which was recommended by Steinitz in his textbook. Instead of playing knight c3, bishop d2 leads to a quieter continuation, but in the game we see knight c3 and d5, which is considered to be not the best continuation. Well, actually, black could capture on e4. If white castles kingside, then bishop takes c3 and then d5. The players have equal chances, but in the game after knight c3 we see d5. Now comes e takes d5, knight takes d5 and white castles kingside. But of course right now capturing on c3 can be dangerous. For example, if bishop takes c3, then simply b takes c3, and of course knight takes c3 can't be played because of this queen b3 move. Or after castling kingside, if a move like knight takes c3, then white can first give a check from e1 square and then play b takes c3, and if black castles, then bishop d3, and actually white's position is preferable. But in the game after castling kingside we see bishop e6, although I have to tell you that knight b6 is better. If rook e1 check, then bishop e7, but in the game we see bishop e6. Now comes bishop g5 and bishop e7. Not a good move. It was better to play queen d7, and if knight takes d5, then bishop takes d5, and if queen b3, then black can capture on f3. Though white has a powerful bishop pair and a better position, but this could have been actually better for black. But instead after bishop g5 we see bishop e7. Here Steinitz went for several exchanges on d5 square and then captured on e7 as well, and after knight takes e7 he played rook e1, acting against black's castling. White's exchanging combination has once and for all deprived black for the possibility of castling, and white's future attack will be based on that fact. Now if queen d6, then white can intensify the pressure on e7 with queen e2. That's why after rook e1 black chose the best continuation and played f6 in order to play king f7. Queen e2, which is actually not the best continuation. Queen a4 check followed by queen b4 could have created for black a lot of problems. Right now the threat is rook takes e7 check followed by rook e1, and if a5, then in this case white can simply win the pawn on b7. But in the game after f6 we see queen e2, queen d7. Black is both protecting the knight and at the same time is not allowing any possible checks from b5 square. Now comes rook c1 and c6, which is a terrible mistake after which black's position is collapsing. King f7 could have been better, and believe it or not, but after this move the computer evaluates the position as equal. But in the game after rook c1 we see c6, after which Steinitz played a powerful move d5. He's offering a whole pawn in order to penetrate with the knight via d4 to e6. The pawn sacrifice is absolutely correct and black should not accept it. C takes d5. Well, king f7 could have been better. If d takes c6, then knight takes c6. Although after rook d1, queen c8, queen c4 check, white actually has a huge advantage, but this could have prolonged black's resistance. Instead after d5 we see c takes d5. Now comes knight d4, king f7 and knight e6. Look at this magnificent knight on e6 square, and right now white is threatening to penetrate with his rook. rook c8, black is acting against white's rook c7 move. Instead of playing rook c8, if knight c6, again blocking the rook's path, then white could play knight c5, and then knight takes b7, and again actually black's position is collapsing, and then the queen can penetrate black's camp from the queen side. It's over. In the game we see rook c8. Now comes queen g4, this time Steinitz is targeting the pawn on g7, and at the same time there can be some very nasty checks with discovered attacks. g6, but now comes knight g5 check. F takes g5 can be met with queen takes d7, that's why Bardeleben moved back his king in order to protect his queen. But in this position, Wilhelm Steinitz made another powerful move. Can you find his next move? Ready? He simply captured on e7. Look at this fantastic exchange sacrifice. The thing is that now queen takes e7 can be met with rook takes c8 move. And then in the end of the day, actually white is a piece up, and this is going to be an easy win. Or after rook takes e7, if king takes e7, then rook e1 check. Now if king d8, then knight e6 check followed by knight c5. Black is losing his queen. Or after rook e1 check, if king d6, then this time queen b4 check, and then unleash a very dangerous king hunt, and in the end of the day actually black has no chance to survive. This king can become an easy target for aggressive white pieces. The game is over. After rook takes e7 check, Bardeleben played king f8. This is a splendid reply which speaks for the fact that in this game Steinitz encountered a worthy opponent. Because of the threat of mate on c1, the black queen is untouchable, where all four white pieces find themselves under attack. Right now, if you capture on d7, then you can easily get checkmated. That's why after rook takes e7 check, king f8, Steinitz played another fantastic move. This time he gave a check from f7 square. King g8, well, if queen takes f7, then simply rook takes c8, and again, in the end of the day, this is an easy one position for white. After rook f7 check, we see king g8, and another fantastic move, this time rook g7 check. This mad rook is simply chasing black king. This is simply the pinnacle of beauty. It is clear that neither with the king nor with the queen can black take the undefended white rook. Black king has to move to the corner. For example, if king takes g7, then white can capture on d7 with a check, or if a move like queen takes g7, then rook takes c8 is coming, and again, like in the previous lines I showed, white can easily win the game. After rook g7 check, king h8 was played, but after this devastating rook takes h7 move, believe it or not, but Bardeleben left the tournament hall and did not return that day. Thus, he did not allow Steinitz to bring this remarkable combination to an end. However, Steinitz demonstrated to the audience how he was going to proceed with the combination. If king g8, then white can give a check again from g7 square. Now if king f8, then knight h7 is coming, and then white can capture on d7 with a check. Or after rook g7 check, if king h8, then already the h7 pawn is removed and the queen can join the attack with a check. If king takes g7, then queen h7 check. If king f8, then queen h8 check, after which white queen can give black king several checks and then can easily checkmate. Queen d6, and the game is over. Of course, during this combination you have already understood that it was very important to choose a forced line, otherwise there was always a mating threat from c1 square. Thanks for watching, I hope that you enjoyed this magnificent game. For more games, consider subscribing to my channel. I will see you in the next video. Good luck!